You will get an opportunity to speak to the or to hear from the survivors. Sheila Jeske will come in and testify. She's going to talk to you about some of the injuries that she got. But briefly, you're going to hear about a collapsed lung, a dislocated hip, a fractured fibula, multiple surgeries to put her back together. And she's still suffering from the effects today and may have to undergo more. You will hear from Jennifer Johnson, the ride leader, how her femur and hip were broken in multiple places that needed surgery to repair. You will hear about neck fusion surgery for her due to the multiple injuries that she sustained. You will hear how she was wheelchair bound after that surgery, 7 to 8 weeks. You will hear from Paul Gobble. You will hear that he suffered a traumatic brain injury. He had a fractured vertebra and a fractured neck in his back area, and has, to this day, no real memory other than he left for a bike ride and doesn't know how he wound up in a hospital, in essence. You will hear from Paul Runnels, the last survivor. It was believed that he was the last person. He was up in the very front. He will tell you about his collapsed lung, his fractured pelvis, his fractured ribs, his fractured sacrum, broken collarbone, leg, shoulder, how he had to undergo a colostomy to repair some of the damage. And you'll see him, and he'll actually look to be in good health now here today due to modern medical science and rehab. You will hear from the first responders on scene of the chaotic mess that was going on when they first arrived, and how Mr. Pickett was in the general area of what was going on. And eventually the first responders and the police had contact with Mr. Pickett, and you will hear how he appeared out of it, that he was looking but not responding, how his balance was unsteady, how he had to be assisted around because of his poor coordination and balance area. The officer that dealt with him primarily, who rode with him in the ambulance, will describe his observations of Mr. Pickett, his opinion that Mr. Pickett was in no condition to be operating a motor vehicle, that he was substantially impaired. You will hear how they drew a sample, or in this case, several samples of Mr. Pickett's blood, and that blood was sent off to a laboratory. And when the test results came back, multiple controlled substances were in his system. You will hear how there was active methamphetamine, how there was hydrocodone, which is also Vicodin, in his system. You will hear that there was cyclobenzaprine, which is also known as Flexerol, a muscle relaxer, in his system. And you will hear about, most importantly, because it was such an unusually high level, tramadol, painkiller.